Hey guys, Mr. Middleton here. Today we are going to do a lesson with quadrilaterals in the coordinate plane. At the end of this video, you should be able to find the slope, distance, and midpoint between 2 points. And you should be able to use the properties of special quadrilaterals to identify the coordinates of special points. Okay, now this lesson lays the groundwork for what we're going to do tomorrow, so make sure you understand how to do this stuff. You'll notice I've written the formulas. These should be review, slope, distance formula, and the midpoint formula, but they're there for your reference. Okay, so what we should have known how to do, and we know how to do, is find the slope between 2 points. So let's look at this first example. We'll go through it how we've known how to do it, and then we'll apply it to what I'll ask you to do for this chapter. Okay, so if we want to find the slope between the points 7, -2 and 5, 1, we would do y2, which is 1, minus y1, so minus negative means plus, over x2 minus x1. So 1 minus -2 is 3, 5 minus 7 is -2, and so the slope between these two points is 3 over -2. Alright? Well, in the next problem, we'll look at it in more of a general sense. So we have 3a and b as a point and 2a and 0 as a point. Okay, just because these aren't nice numbers doesn't mean that this problem has to be any more difficult. Same process. y2, which is 0, minus y1, which is b, over x2, which is 2a, minus x1, which is 3a. So 0 minus b will give us negative b. 2a minus 3a gives us negative a. Okay, negative b over negative a, negative over negative, makes it positive. Our slope in that case would be b over a. Okay, so still able to find the slope even with different numbers. Or, yeah, I'll call them numbers. Okay, if we wanted to find the distance between 2 points, remember I showed you the Pythagorean theorem way, and also the distance formula. Distance formula kind of lends itself to be a little bit better here. And so our distance formula is here. Again, after we have that down, and hopefully you've used this enough to kind of memorize it a little bit, we're finding the difference of the x's. So I'll do 7 minus 4 squared plus the difference of the y's. Oops, I did the y's first. Plus the difference of the x's. So -1 minus 3 squared. So 7 minus 4 is 3, so 3 squared, which is 9. -1 minus 3 is -4. -4 squared, which is 16. And so the square root of 9 plus 16, or the square root of 25, will give us 5. Okay, and the same thing can be done in this next situation, even though we're given letters, variables, instead of numbers. So again, find the difference of the x's, and this time I will do the x's. So the difference a plus b, that's this first x, minus b squared, plus 2c minus c squared. Okay, because we're squaring, it really doesn't matter the order, which one, whatever you choose, as long as you're doing it, you'll be fine. Okay, so a plus b minus b, well, that gives us a, so we have a squared. 2c minus c gives us c, so we have c squared. And we'll take the square root of that, and that will be our answer. There's no way for us to easily square root a squared and c squared. A squared plus c squared. So our answer will be the square root of a squared plus c squared. Now you might think, oh, well, that's ugly, but the way that we'll use it, as long as we're able to find the distance, if we find the distance of the next shape, it should be the same thing, and so it works for us. Okay, and midpoint, finally, remember that the midpoint is basically the average of the x coordinates, comma, the average of the y coordinates. And so we're going to add the two x coordinates together, 5 plus 1, which is 6 over 2. we're going to average the y coordinates, negative 2 plus 3 over 2. So 6 over 2 gives us 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 over 2 is 1/2. I'm just going to write it as 1/2. And so this would be our midpoint of the points 5, negative 2, and 1, 3. Just scoot this up. All right, so now we have to find the midpoint of these two. Remember, again, we're going with the average of the x's, so I have negative b plus negative b, or minus b, over 2, comma, 2c plus negative 2c, or minus 2c, over 2. So negative b minus b gives me negative 2b, or not 2b, am I right? But okay. 2c minus 2c gives us 0, 0 over 2. And so now we just simplify this. Negative 2 divided by 2 is just negative b. 0 divided by 2 is just 0. And so our midpoint would be there. So hopefully you see how the skills that you already know are what we're going to be utilizing. Yes, it looks a little bit different when there's variables involved, but it's not a different skill. Okay? And some practice will make you more familiar with it and less apprehensive about it. All right. So now we're going to put this into a little bit of action. It says this figure is a rectangle. Important keyword here. Okay. Give the coordinates of w and z without using any new variables. Then find slope, distance, and midpoint of wz. Now, what do we know about a rectangle is that the opposite sides are going to have to be congruent. This helps us because then we can find out how far over did they go, how far up did they go, and use that to find w. Okay. Now for this problem, they told us, hey, this is 2b, went over to the right 2b, went up 2h. And so that will help us to find w, because w is on the y-axis, right? And so that means its x coordinate should be 0. How far up did it go? Well, it went as far up as this one did, 2h. So our coordinates for w are 0, 2h. Z is on the x-axis here, so we already should know its y coordinate is 0. It didn't go up or down any. Now we have to say how far over did it go? Well, it went as far over as this point did, 2b. Alright? And so now we have to find the slope. The slope will be, the slope of wz, right? Okay, so the slope of wz, I have these 2 points. I have y2 minus y1, so 0 minus 2h over x2 minus x1, 2b minus 0. So I have negative 2h over 2b. Okay, always remember to try to simplify this if possible, and in this case it is possible. I see 2 in both of these, I can take that out, and I'm left with negative h over b. That's the slope. Now distance. Okay, again, I'm going to take the difference of the x's, so 0 minus 2b squared, plus the difference of the y's, which is 2h minus 0 squared. Take the square root of that. So square this, I get 4b squared plus 4h squared, square root of that. Okay, and then we'll just leave it as that. 4b squared plus 4h squared. Okay, and then finally, the midpoint. And remember, the midpoint is just the average of the x values times the average of the y values. So midpoint average of the x values, again, I have 0 plus 2b over 2. And then I have 2h plus 0 over 2. So with the zeros, they're basically not there. 2b divided by 2 gives us b. 2h divided by 2 gives us h. So we're able to find the slope, the distance, and the midpoint of WZ. Alright. Final example here. As we go through here, we need to find t. Okay, says this figure is a parallelogram. Again, now we're using the values that we know about parallelograms in order to fill in this information. All right, parallelograms, we know that opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are congruent. That's what's going to help us here. So we're going to find the coordinates for t. So they told us that this figure, well, this point is 0, 0. It's going to help us out. Because now they told us from here to here we went up D and we went over C. Now, that will help us out because we know that in this next segment as well, we're going to go up D and over C. Okay, so that means we're going to be adding D to the Y value. And so since the Y value is 0, we add D to it. 0 plus D is D. And we're going to be adding C to the X value. Now the X value is B. With B, we're adding C to it. That makes this coordinate B plus C, comma D. Okay. So now they want us to find the slope of ST. So the slope of ST, we know that S is 0, 0. We know that T now is B plus C, comma D. So the slope will be the y2 minus y1, D minus 0, over x2, B plus C minus 0. So D over B plus C. That's the slope. Okay, the distance, again we have the difference of the x's, so we have B plus C minus 0 squared plus the difference of the y's, D minus 0 squared, square root of that. Alright, so here we have B plus C squared, and here we have D squared. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL this out, I think, just for the review of it. Okay, so that gives us B squared plus 2BC plus C squared plus D squared. Oh, that's nice. Nice. Alright, so the distance, this big nice number, you can write it all out like that, or you could say B plus C squared plus D squared. Either way works out. Okay, usually we'll use that as a comparison to find out if two figures are the same distance or two segments are the same distance apart. Okay. Finally, midpoint, remember it's the average of the x values, average of the y values. Makes it a little bit easier that this is 0, right? So B plus C plus 0 just gives us B plus C over 2, comma, D plus 0, which just gives us D over 2. So the midpoint will be B plus C over 2, comma, D over 2. Okay. All right, so you'll see that while the answers aren't particularly nice, the process to get to the correct answers isn't any different than what we've done in algebra or in first semester of geometry. Okay, make sure you're using your formulas and being thoughtful as you go through. All right, see ya.